Welcome to the video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at this little model here. Now this is one of the new Hubsan mini quadcopters that's perfect for flying indoors and in light winds as well. This specific one is the Hubsan X4 Camera Plus, and it came from rcmoments.com. And the reason that we're looking at this is it's the later version of something that we are very fond of here in the channel. Unfortunately, learning to fly quadcopters involves an awful lot of crashing. It's just part of the process. And by getting yourself one of these smaller types of quadcopter, you can absolutely have those crashes with something that'll take that abuse and keep on ticking, rather than end up coming home in a plastic bag in several bits and you have to order new props, arms, replace motors and things. It's a really cute way to master some of the basic memory in your thumbs that you need in order to fly these things. Now this is the control for that older one, and the throttle, elevator, aileron, rudder and all that stuff is in exactly the same place. So if you spend a winter learning with this thing, by the time summer comes around and you want to fly a larger quad, you will be a much more accomplished pilot and you'll have far less crashes. Now this has a couple of tricks up its sleeve. First of all is that it has a camera on it. Now this isn't an FPV model, so it isn't going to send an FPV signal back to some goggles. There are bigger versions of it that do that, but in addition to having the camera, the other cute thing it does as well, the plus, is talking about the fact that this thing actually has altitude hold. So what that means is you kind of set it at the altitude that you want, and the little model will try and maintain that altitude without you having to work at the throttle. Now for newer pilots that's absolutely brilliant, because it makes this really simple to fly, and not only does it have those kind of features, it also has things like head free mode. So normally when you fly something like this, the way it works is that the stick and the model work together, but unfortunately if it's nose in, then what you have to do is the sticks are reversed. Now using head free mode, when you have it like that, it means that irrespective of the orientation, the sticks always work the same way and the craft always moves in the same direction, which for a new pilot that's learning, or for those of us that maybe get it a bit far away and lose orientation, need to fly it back, is a really handy feature. Now let's have a look at the model itself, and then I'll have a look at the transmitter and I'll give you some footage of this little guy flying. The key features on here, apart from the fact that it makes a little smiley face on the top, which I do quite like, you can charge the battery that's inside using a couple of different ways. It's a little proprietary battery that gets shoved up its bottom. It's a 520 milliamp hour unit, 3.7 volts. You can either charge it using the cable that comes in the kit, which looks like this. You plug that onto the end and you plug that into your PC. That's very handy if you wanted to buy another battery. You only get one in the kit. The battery lasts about 7 or 8 minutes of flight, or you can actually charge it with the battery inside, and what you do is you just keep the battery in there. You have a little micro USB cable, and again you get one in the kit. You plug that in, the lights go nice and red, and then they go off when it's charged. In addition to those LEDs, they have LEDs on each of the corners, which again makes it fun to fly in darker conditions, but it's also useful for orientation, so you can see which direction you're actually looking at. Handy for checking nose in. To power it on, because the battery is installed all the time, there's a little button here at the bottom. If you press and hold that, then all the LEDs come on, and this is where all of the video and stills are stored. Now you can start video recording by briefly pressing this button when it's powered up, or you can use the remote control to do that too. The ergonomics on it are much better. It's very comfy to hold in your hand, and it has these like knurled stick tops that are nice and big, so it's easy for you to fly. Now this feels very much like a game controller, so it says minimum age 14 on the box, and I think all those PlayStation and Xbox pilots will find this very natural in their hands. Now on here we have the trims for the aileron and the elevator. We also have the trims for the rudder as well. We have the power button, and then we have these two buttons on the shoulders. One stops and starts video, the other will take a still image onto the SD card. In addition to that, clicking the sticks will cause different things to happen. I'll show you those in a second, but clicking this stick will take you into head-free mode, and clicking this one will take you from the beginner into expert mode. So let me show you how you power this thing up. First of all, just get into the habit of always turning your radio transmitter on first. It will just save your bacon when you get into the bigger models. And then if you press and hold this little power button, let me try and do it by keeping my fingers out of the way, because you watch what happens. It's very cute. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. It's on. And it'll do that until it binds with the radio. And when it's bound with the radio, all the LEDs go solid. So we have lots and lots of blue lights at the front and big red lights at the back. And to start the motors, what you do is you hold the sticks in that position. And to stop the motors, you do the same again. Now you can actually start the motors by flicking the throttle to the top. But again, to turn them off, the only way you turn them off is going to that position where this stick is in the lower left hand corner and this stick is in the lower right hand corner. So you turn them on and turn them off like that. So to start a video, you just press and hold this button, and what happens is the red LEDs at the back flash to show that you're recording. You need to make sure that you finish recording before you turn off the model, otherwise the file will not be saved, it won't be readable. So here's some flying video of it just pootling around in the back garden, and here we're actually flying in completely normal mode with the lower rates. It's very, very stable, and what's happening here is the way it works is that if I raise the throttle from that sprung central position, it rises in the air. If I then drop the throttle below that sprung central position, then it sinks. If I just leave it where it is, it'll try and maintain its height. Great for new pilots, but less good if you want to use this as a trainer for moving on to some of those bigger models, because the amount of help and support that's on this, and you can't turn off the altitude hold, and because of the sprung throttle, it does mean it's probably less useful as a trainer than the other one we've looked at, but more applicable for somebody that wants to get a quadcopter without having to learn all the tricky bits. The other thing you can do as well, if you press and hold the left stick, then it will start to beep, and that will allow you to do flips as well. If you then press the left hand button briefly, then what happens is the blue lights at the front start to flash, and now we are in head free mode, and that means that irrespective of the orientation of the model, it will react to the control sticks as though it was pointing away from you. So pulling the stick down towards you will bring the model back towards you. Pushing the stick away from you will make the model fly away from you, regardless of which direction it's actually pointing in. Again, very handy for a beginner, and also very handy if you fly a little bit far away and you lose your orientation and you need to bring it back home. Pressing the left stick again will take it back into normal flight mode. The other thing you can do as well, if you press the right hand button, then it'll take you into expert mode. Now expert mode has higher rates and is more aggressive than normal mode, so if you want to fly more aggressively, get more speed out of it, be able to bank the craft more, then that's what you need to do. It actually says expert mode on the screen. If I press it again, we go back to normal mode. So in summary, what do I think? Well, I really, really like the Hubsan product, and this again is a really cute thing, and I can't believe how they managed to make this kind of stuff for about $60 US. The only thing that doesn't come in the package are the 4 batteries that you have to pop in the back of the radio, and those are 4 AAA batteries, but once you've got those in there, you are pretty much ready to fly with the addition of an SD card. For me, this is definitely something that I'm going to recommend to those younger pilots who are interested in getting into it but might struggle with some of the complexity of things like throttle control. Now, throttle control is something that you do have to learn, because in a normal quadcopter, as you bank around, you tend to have to increase the throttle slightly because you lose a little bit of the downward thrust because you're going side to side at the same time. This manages all that for you. So if you want to practice something like nose in hovering over the winter, which is exactly what I use my Hubsan for, and it taught me that in about 4 weeks over one very dark summer several years ago, where trying it with larger models just ended up with lots of bits in a plastic bag coming home, and me spending the next evening putting it all back together. If you want it for something like that, it's really good, but the fact that it has a sprung throttle for me means that it's less useful as a general trainer. But again, thank you to rcmoment.com. I'll put a link in the description, so if you want to go and have a look at this and maybe thinking about this for somebody for Christmas, then you can go and get hold of one.
Easier to understand.
Thank you for taking the time to watch that video. There are lots of other videos on the channel and they're carefully ordered into playlists, so you may find that there are other videos on this same subject that you can go and watch. So I would recommend going into the playlist area of Painless 360 YouTube channel and looking around and seeing what there is. You never know what you might find. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and happy flying.